Well, hello everyone. We are in Dublin, Georgia today at the offices of B.H. Hall, Ready Mix, and Dublin Construction, a third generation family owned business celebrating 80 years. 80 years. Amazing. I'm here with Ben Hall, the second generation, to learn the history of this highly successful enterprise. Ben, thank you so much for taking time to meet with me today and to tell us about yourself and about your family business. So let's jump in. And if you don't mind, start with you. Tell us about yourself and where you grew up and that sort of thing.
Well, first of all, Bill, thank you for coming to Dublin and visiting with us. We're always glad to share our history because of my father and his dedication to hard work and delivering us to a good business. On my personal side, I was born in 1941 in May, and the interesting thing there, of course, I don't remember any of it, but I was at birth, I was allergic to milk, and
No.
almost died. And
Oh my.
after 3 trips to different doctors, and there wasn't that many in Macon in 1942. But I think I said 41, but it's 42.
So it's actually 42.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So anyway, the only thing that saved me was bananas. So I guess it's
Really?
yeah, monkeys and myself. We run together. But anyway,
That's very interesting.
yeah. So anyway, we were living in Milledgeville, and my dad was working for a war effort in Milledgeville, building a bomb plant. And when the Germans surrendered, he was trying to find a place to go, and a gentleman loaned him $1,500.
A lot of money.
He was able to buy 3 wheelbarrows, 3 picks, and 3 shovels, and a old worn-out pickup truck. And the 3 of us got in the pickup and came to Dublin.
Wow.
And, but I graduated from Dublin High School. I hurt my back, and I couldn't play football my junior and senior year because of hurting my back here at Dublin Construction. Went on to Southern Tech, which now became Southern Polytech.
Yes.
I didn't want to design a bridge, I just wanted to build one.
Yes.
And but this was during the 60s and the good music and a lot of girls, and there were prettier girls at University of Georgia than was there. So after making a brief stop in Cochran, Georgia, to get some of my liberal arts up to stuff, I met the girl that ended up, we'll be celebrating our 60th anniversary next year.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you. The same girl. So
Now, was she a Dublin girl? Or?
no, she was from Hawkinsville, Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, so we were married in my senior year at Georgia, and my dad had a heart attack situation, and he wanted me to hurry up and get here. So we finished up and came home and started working, doing cost accounting and learning from the bottom up. And then he put me in the concrete plant, ran that for many years, and then moved into the construction side of things. It's one of those things you got to earn the merit badge before you move.
No doubt.
So, but it's been a good thing. I've watched Dublin pretty much crawl on its knees to becoming a good place. There's a lot of different things, a lot of different variety of industries, and of course we've lost a lot of industry from the textile side.
Yes.
But we regained with other things, so it's doing good. Life's been good. we've had our challenges. That's part of life. We've been blessed.
Well, now tell me, let me dig in a little bit. As always, when in these interviews, that a lot of things come to mind, and I'm curious. We talked a little bit at lunch. You tell some different stories about the history, but let's go back and did your father begin first in construction and then start to ready mix, or ready mix first?
Ready mix first.
Okay,
well, it wasn't ready.
It was
mixed, but you had to make it happen. There wasn't any ready to it. He had a 2-bag mixer, old pickup truck, and shovels and picks. There was no hydraulics invented at that time.
Roughly what year were we talking about?
Well, it was 1945.
45. So as the war was ending.
Yeah.
And the bomb plant in Milledgeville. So he began. Did he begin simultaneously with the concrete?
Well, there were a lot of men were coming back from the war, and they needed housing, and they were that was a government effort to start housing for these people, and so he was hand digging house foundations, and of course the houses weren't big either. It's everything has its scale, and that scale was small at that time.
Yes. So he was actually manufacturing concrete for houses that he was building. Is that?
He would dig. He wasn't building the house.
Oh, he wasn't building the house, but
he would contract with the house builders to put in the foundation.
I got you.
So he was hand digging the house foundations, he and 2 or 3 men.
Yes.
And then they have to go get the materials.
Yes.
And then had this little mixer that was slowly spit it out, but time was slow back then anyway. So.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So when did he have his first batch plant, if you will?
You know, that was in the 50s. He contracted with someone to, and I don't know who, because I was in school all that time, to build a back plant. And of course, everything was hand operated, pulling the and had an old piece of a front end loader that was the beginning of hydraulics, just picking the bucket up.
Right.
But a lot of it, we had a crane, and he was using the crane to batch the bins on up till we got the conveyor up going. The conveyor came later. And then everything had bags. You had to buy the carload of bags.
Wow.
And as I said earlier, one of his great mountain climbs was getting up enough credit that he could buy a whole car box of bagged goods. Third of it would be mortar mix, and
right.
2/3 would be cement. And everything was done by hand. And I tell people that this day and time, they don't know, they don't have a clue as how hard physically.
Yes.
And then this mental part of trying to get credit and pay your bills and go dig house foundations and do all that. Everything was so labor intense. We're reaping the
yes.
We're reaping the good stuff of his hard labor.
No doubt.
Right here now, and Tom.
Yes.
And the 3rd generation.
So approximately what year did you graduate from Georgia?
66.
In 66. So, and you came right in full time.
Yeah.
And cost, you said cost estimating and
job cost.
Job costing and
keeping up with all that and charging. And a lot of the stuff he was doing was time and materials with the say for J.P. Stevens in Milledgeville and here in Dublin as well, the textile mill.
Now, tell me again. Repeat the story that you mentioned at lunch. That was it at the you talked about a lot of things at lunch, but the idea that the company here, was it a paper mill, or was it JP that said if you start involved here, you'll be able to?
Oh yeah, that was at the paper mill with Mr. Kennedy with B&K
B&K.
from Birmingham.
That's it.
Birmingham.
That's it.
Yeah.
Tell us that again about how that.
Well, that gets us when the paper we worked on this paper mill physically and financially for about 2.5 years, thinking it was coming. This is coming, it's coming. Then it would go back and whatever. And so much that my dad had told the guy that was over the economic development thing here now, at the time, don't come back and ask me for any more money. So I'm running the concrete plant at the time. And he pulls up and he's got all these bags of chips on there, and they're wet, nasty, and all this stuff. He said, Ben, I need you to send this to this lab in Michigan or wherever it was. He said, I know, don't tell your dad that I asked you to do it, but I promise you, if this thing rings through, I'll make sure you'll be in car 1, seat 1. I said, okay. So I did. I camouflaged the deal, and my dad never knew what happened there. And sure enough, they came. They came as a recycle mill. They didn't need the chips, which was good because we would have to digest those.
Absolutely.
So, but Mr. Kennedy was a great guy. He was the lead salesperson, I guess, with that design group for the paper mill. And he told me then, he said, Ben, if you'll diversify your skill set to match up with what they need here, as well as other industry, you'll never
want for work.
Yeah, you'll always have some place for you. And so that was part of when I knew that we were having all these recessions. I knew we needed to diversify and to try to take the low out of the low, as I say. And so we started working on the mechanical thing, and then we got that going. I never tried to get three or four things going at one time. We needed to make everything that simple till we managed it, then it became secondary to you. So then I got into the design build, and then we bought a Butler building franchise, and then we got into the roofing business, roofing being single ply roofing for industrial buildings, nothing to do with homes. That's all we wanted. That and design. We design and build either around a Butler building or the single ply roof. But all that goes hand in hand, really, with the concrete industry. Updating the concrete industry, our plant to match up with the times has been one of the most wonderful things.
Yes. To
see happen, and from actually being in a concrete plant where everything you had to pull all the handles, and there were very few buttons to push other than to turn the light on. The rest of it was all hand. And now walk in there and see how it takes over, and then having a screen up would show the man exactly where he's going. It is slick. It's good.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing.
You've seen a lot of changes.
I've seen it from not as early as my father did, certainly with the 2-bag mixer, but I did see that, or wanted you to see the mixer truck that we had, his first one. Yeah. It had the single axle. I think it was a 3-yard drum on it with a secondary engine to pull that. And there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears dealing with that as well, as far as whether the chain coming off or the motor not cranking. It's always we called it the fire drill.
Yes.
From our maintenance shop.
Let me ask you this. This is a question just popped into my head, quite honestly. So this is your only ready mix plant site here?
We have another one in Hawkinsville, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
That's
okay.
Small. Yeah.
I'm curious. Here's where I was going with it. I'm just curious. So many. As you know, the typical approach is producers tend to start one and then two and then and continue their expansion. And yet, and can you talk a little bit about your?
Well, I can answer the question. Well, we had two things. There's really very little of east of here as far as the surrounding counties that are growing and doing anything. Number one. The other, in the northern direction, and well, we had Macon. Macon was already full of ready-mix people at the time, and they were all family businesses as well. And then my friends in Milledgeville and over in Sandersville.
Yes.
So, I wasn't going to go start a war. So
Right.
And we were selling into our construction services. So, you got to figure out who you want to be, and you want to be friendly, or you want to create a war.
Yes.
That it won't do that.
Well, and clearly one of the distinctions with you folks is Dublin Construction. I mean, you've got a massive enterprise with that, and that's a different.
Blessed. Yeah. We've always tried to treat people fairly and expected them to reciprocate.
Yes.
And it's amazing how many. One of the most rewarding things out of all this, to me, is doing the job for somebody and becoming good friends with them.
Yes.
Yeah, we've one of the most interesting guys I've worked with a lot of interesting people, but Brooks Pennington was an entrepreneur, and he'd stay awake half the night coming up with stuff. And so we found out that they wanted to build a fertilizer plant, and he never heard of us. And so I went up there, and he was a hard nut to crack, but he liked the fact that I was second generation and this, that, and the other. So he listened, and I carried some of our people up there, and we all just hit it off, and we did what we said we'd do, and he got what he expected and a little more. And we've been working with them ever since.
Now, was that in Morgan County that you built that, or where was that?
That was that's in Putnam.
Oh, in Putnam is where
the
fertilizer.
He went down there and talked them into giving him some land.
Gotcha.
And of course, the site grading on the land was more than what the land was worth. But anyway, and then we were there in Morgan County. We're up there working now. So, and then from the spinoff from that, we've got a large expansion going on up there right this minute for a company known as Bard.
Yes. Oh, yes. Near I-20. They make
air conditioning for schools.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's been there for a while.
Yeah. We added on to that plant as far as we could go, and then building a new one across the street.
So another question. I'm always curious about how our members responded to the Great Recession, because it hit Georgia awfully hard, as you know. To say a little bit about the Great Recession as it relates to your lines of business, and anything you'd want to tell us about how you responded, and the effect on you and that sort of thing?
Well, first thing we did, we brought everybody in and did a little cooking, and we talked about it. Said, "This is it. This is the hand we're dealt. We either we're gonna all have to give a little more because there's little to get."
Yes.
And so we're gonna make the best of it. We're gonna swim through it. We're financially strong company. We're not going under, and this too shall pass if we all pull together. And so it did. And but because we were diversified, that diversification gave us more places to go and deal.
Yes.
And all these industries still had to had their needs. They had needs,
Right.
and so we were able to fill those needs and keep our nose above water.
So when did talk about Tom a little bit, since he's not here and can't not speak for himself. Tell us about when and how he got involved. Talk a little bit about.
Well, my dad was thrilled that my dad was the only boy. He had 5 sisters, and so then when Tom came along, he was thrilled to know that there might have been a possibility, that he could do it. But Tom followed a girl down to Statesboro. We wanted him to go to well, I wanted him to go into the engineering school in Statesboro, but he went to the business side. And then he followed another girl up to Kennesaw, and but he graduated from Kennesaw in the business school, and but he grew up working down here and doing things. So it's worked out, and he's done a real good job. He's had a lot bigger work than I've had in the past, and he's answered a lot of calls. We're doing a lot of work in Macon, a lot of industry work there, and they like it. They like the way we try to do business, and we keep getting called back. So that's good.
That repeat business tells you a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's an interesting. I don't understand where they sell this stuff, but there's a company called Nichiha.
Yeah.
And they are making a knockoff of a Hardy board.
I've heard of that.
In Macon.
Yes.
And so we just called on them one day, and next thing I know, they got a $80 million expansion they want us to do. So it's been one of those rewarding things. You never know what you're going to do, but you got to go knock on the door first.
Yes.
So it's worked out good.
A quick note on Tom. I met Tom in probably 2015 when I was on the board, and he was on the board of the GRMCA, and that's where we first got to meet and work together. And I've really enjoyed getting to know him, and just grateful that he's still active, and we talk often, and we're happy that y'all are part of us.
But the Ready Mix, it's one of the greatest things. I was one of the guys that was involved with trying to have a Ready Mix association, and on the very early days. Now there might have been other things in Atlanta, north of Atlanta, that are going on that I don't know about.
Right.
But I do know about what we were trying to do down here, and having, there were at the time, a lot of resistance. I mean, well, why do I want to go tell them what I'm doing or whatever? And I kept trying to say, nobody cares what you doing. You don't want to hear it if you want to say it, but we need to look after ourselves, and if we don't look after ourselves, who we got to blame if thing got to pot? Number one. Number two is that there's so many different foreign companies were buying the cement industry up, and that goes on with other things now more so than ever before. Having a voice in Atlanta, as well as part of a voice in Washington,
yes,
is without a doubt imperative. The other thing is having people come together and get to know other members. It's made so much a difference to me, and knowing them and how they call on them. You know, where you buying this, or what do you do? We're having a problem with this product.
Yes.
You got any of that? Yeah. Well, what did happen? Well, I had to threaten to do so and so or whatever.
Yes.
You know? So knowing how to negotiate through the forest to get to where you need to go, and having someone else that's been there before you is worth more money than you can stack in a bag.
No doubt. I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was a little bit of the history that I had not heard before, what you were describing to me. And say just a little bit more about that. Who were some of the I think you said that was in the 60s, maybe
late 60s.
Late 60s.
Yeah.
Who were some of the producers in those early days?
At that time, over in Sandersville, Howard Shepard and a gentleman last name was Smith. He had a ready mix business, and then the Fowler Flemister group was there, and Mr. Pursley ended up buying that, but we knew him because of working in Milledgeville. And there was a gentleman that had Evans. He had a bunch of little plants in these small towns, saying Vidalia and Limes and whatever. And I can't remember his name. I certainly want to look that up.
Yes, please.
He was quite an entrepreneur, and his whole family's still got that thing going. It took few, and then we called some others, you know.
And it finally
got it put together. And then, like I said, our first big meeting was at the Savannah Inn and Country Club. And we all played golf and then met and had different speakers. And just like the same thing we're doing now.
Sure.
It was just at a lot smaller scale, physically and financially than we are now.
Right. Say a little bit about, if you would, I'd be curious to hear, if you look back over your life, some of the most influential people, obviously your father, but speak a little bit about how your father, in what ways he influenced your philosophy of life, your philosophy of business, and then anyone else that you may think about that you would say really affected you in how you work.
Well, my father, as I said, grew up with 5 sisters. My grandfather was a sharecropper over in Perry, Houston County, and being a sharecropper with 6 children, it was financial. There was a financial strain all the time. So my father was 2 things. He was hell bent. He was going to have his own business, and he was going to do whatever he could to have a good name and excellent credit. And so when all the times of being around him, he's always talking about so forth. But he was the proudest, one of the days he was the proudest he could be, that he was able to get credit to get that car box
Yes.
of cement. And they trusted him, and he honored that trust, and that got the wheels rolling. We've got a excellent credit rating.
Yes.
We pay our bills on time. We pay our bills before we pay ourselves.
Right.
And so that was having that pounded in my head.
Right.
And the other thing is that we're going to honor our contract. If we have to give a little more, we're going to give a little more. We're never going to take. We're going to have a clean conscience at the end of the job, and we want to have a handshake and honor that. So those are important. And then there were other men that came along the way that I was honored to know them, and them to teach me some things, and giving back to the community, and being a part of trying to make something better every day. And I think if you get up every morning and want to make something better than it was yesterday, somewhere, it might be a phone call. You call somebody,
right,
and check on them and see how they're doing. And sometimes I'm not as I don't do that as often as I should sometimes, but all these things are so important, the things that make the world go around, and it's called goodness.
Yes.
And honor and integrity. So I'm proud to say that I've tried to do that, and Tom has tried to do that.
Yes. You know, I meant to ask you earlier, and so I didn't, so I'll ask you now. Say a little bit about your involvement in the business, and what it looks like today, and then as you in the recent years, as Tom has gotten more and more involved. Talk a little bit about that dynamic, if you will.
Well, the basics of business haven't changed as far as that goes, but as far as the way he does things, the way I do things, and the way my father did things, they were all different.
Yes.
A lot of degree. But it all boils back down to the same thing if you still honor those
principles.
But Tom has done a good job. Now, my father wasn't as good about getting out and getting his business as I did. I loved the challenge. If somebody told me no, I was trying to figure out why in the hell he told me no.
Right.
And or I'd keep coming back and saying, I'm still here, waiting on you, whatever. But I never gave up on it. There's some I gave up on, and I was glad I did at the end. But most of them I hung in there till I got the business. But that's the business now is so different than it was when I came in '66, and still, as I said, having recessions on a every 3 or 4 year basis.
Yes.
And here it has been now since
2008.
2008. We've been constantly climbing up, and the stock market today is in the green. So it's amazing to me how we continuously to grow, and I do know how some of it was without government throwing away as much money as they've done. But Georgia's hot. The good thing that Georgia's really growing. I was privileged to help out with the Deal campaign, and it started with Sonny Perdue, but right after Sonny went out, then Deal went in, and Georgia just started constantly growing in most all areas of the state. And it's been so good to see things going on down in Savannah now. Now Savannah's doubled in size. It's just a lot going on. I had the privilege of serving on the Port Authority up until I got COVID and almost died from that.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So I resigned after when I got it because it messed my brain up for a while.
Did it really?
Yeah. Yeah.
COVID brain fog, I guess they.
Yeah. It was like.
So was that early on, Ben? Was that in 20 or 21? Or was it later?
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. They had me. I told my wife, said, "Now, everybody said don't put me on one of those
ventilator."
Yeah, ventilator. And sure enough, they wanted to do it. I think she finally let them do it for one day, but I had told her don't let them do it. But anyway, I recovered from that, as you can see.
Oh yeah.
So, but I enjoyed it. The Port Authority was interesting, and it was a great group of men and women, and they're growing stronger today.
They sure are.
Yeah.
A lot of work down there. I'm actually going to, after I leave here, I'm going to Savannah, and I'm having dinner with one of our directors, Hugh Pappy.
Great.
Who's I always look forward to seeing.
Yeah, give him my regard.
I certainly will. Now, along the follow-up question to my earlier question would be do you still are you still involved in the business at all, or?
No. You know, my dad always said, "It's a wise man that knows when it's time to get out of the way and let the younger generation take over." And so I had told Tom all along. I said, you know, when you get where you can swim with this sharks, you know, I'm ready to step out. And not that I could, because you know it's been taking it intravenously for years.
Oh yeah.
And so it was hard to just unplug.
Right.
But I've finally gotten to where I come down here and visit and talk to different ones, and we're in a project, little thing that my dad was the first chairman of the development authority here.
Huh.
Yeah, and so we're we just got permission from the development authority. We're going to put up a real nice flagpole and do the concrete work and all around it, and dedicate it to my dad on the 80th anniversary of
Great.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
that's a great idea.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing that. So I try to help out with the things that the community needs and whatever.
Public relations.
Yeah. One thing that I will like to say here in this, and also challenge other ready mix producers, that we are proud of the fact that we've given all the concrete for every Habitat house built here. And it is very rewarding, and everybody in the community knows you're doing it. And I say everybody that should know.
Sure.
And so it is a good thing. And one of the very emotional side of that is being at the time you give a person that's never had a home a key.
Wow.
And then they know that they've got to pay back, and that's where it regenerates itself. It's a slow regenerator, but it's all good stuff. It's all good stuff. So I would hope that you try to carry that word.
Yes.
To see if they won't get involved in doing some of that.
Yes. I know that we've, prior to my coming back, I know there's been some habitat work, but I'm glad you mentioned that and brought that up.
Well, it fits our industry.
It does. It really does. I've got one last question. I mean, we could go on. I mean, there's so many questions that come to mind in these interviews, because because they're fascinating to me. And having worked in a family business at Fulton, they're just very, very special and very enjoyable. But the question is this, and that is, you've been in business for many, many years, and what advice would you give to the next generation, to those that are listening, our members out there? There are a lot of young, new people coming into the industry. We've got a lot of businesses that are with the next generations are coming in, and it's always good to hear just the wisdom of the ages. So what would you offer up as advice and counsel for that next generation of operators and employees?
Well, the first thing is it's an honor to get dirty, because if you're going to learn a business, you got to get down in there with it, and don't be shy to ask questions. There's usually somebody, especially be honored to answer your questions, especially somebody that usually don't anybody ever ask them any questions. But it's amazing what you can learn, and learning how to deal with people and learning how to encourage people to take another step. 90% of the people that are here started at a different level, and some of them at a very top level now. But they had to earn the merit badge.
Yes.
And one of the things that's missing in this generation that's involved the younger people is they don't understand what a merit badge is, number one. And number two is they think they can get all this information that they need off the internet, and rather than getting down in the ditch
Right.
But you cannot achieve anything unless you can lead people, and they've got to trust you first. And the only way they're going to trust you is you got to know what you're talking about. So that's my suggestion to the younger generation, is don't be shy about jumping in and learning, and be willing to do it.
And you're right. There's a lot of wisdom out there in this industry amongst people who often aren't asked for their opinion, or
the
drivers, for example.
Yeah, and what they have to go through.
Yes.
And there's so many people that working in a concrete plant never been in a mixer truck.
Right.
And backing that son of a gun up.
Yes.
And then going down in a septic tank, and something tearing up, or the thing turning over, and all this stuff. It's just you don't ever know what the other guy's going through either, personally. So
one of the most sobering, enlightening experiences when I first came into this industry was jumping in a mixer and going into Atlanta in a concrete mixer, into downtown Atlanta, and I gained a whole new appreciation.
I thought you were going to use the word horror.
Oh, it was. We ended up, the driver, the CDP, concrete delivery professional, had to wash out into a little bucket of an excavator. There was nowhere to, and so he had the contractor come up and put that excavator bucket, and he washed his chutes out into that bucket. What became of that, I don't know, but he did his responsible duty. But
sure.
But anyway, well, Ben, this has been wonderful. I'm so glad we'd not met before, and so I'm excited that we were able to pull this off fairly quickly, and you had time to meet and
I've enjoyed it
and tell these stories. But I really am grateful to you.
Well, I'm grateful to you, and I'm grateful that the Ready Mix Association is still in force and growing. That's important.
We are indeed. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, sir.